Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on engineering thermodynamics. We are continuing our topic of entropy. So let's begin. In our previous lecture we began with this new chapter, that is entropy. First of all, we will do a quick revision of our previous topics and then we will start with our new topics. So first we started with the Clausius theorem, in which here if you see we have replaced this one normal process I2F, that is a reversible process, into three different processes containing two adiabatics and one isotherm. Okay. So this is the Clausius theorem, that for a reversible cycle, cyclic integral of d cut q upon t is equal to 0. And this is only applicable for a reversible cycle. Then we proved that entropy is a property of system by taking these two paths. Then the next topic was Clausius inequality. So here we proved that for any particular cycle, the cyclic integral of d cut q upon t is always less than or equal to 0. So here this is the important criterion for a reversible for any kind of process, that if this cyclic integral is 0, then the cycle is reversible. If it is less than 0, then the cycle is irreversible and possible, and if the cyclic integral is greater than 0, the cycle is impossible and it violates the second law. So this is the important criteria. The next topic was entropy change in an irreversible process. So here we took two different cycles. First is red color cycle, which contains both processes as reversible one, and next we took a green color cycle in which one process is reversible and second process is irreversible. So here we obtained that ds, that is change in entropy, is always greater than d cut q upon t for any irreversible process, and for a reversible process ds will be equal to d cut q reversible upon t. So here for any general process we can write down ds to be greater than or equal to d cut q upon t. Here again similarly we are having criteria for any particular process, that if ds is greater than d cut q upon t, it is irreversible. If it is equal, then it is irreversible, and if it is less than, then it is an impossible process. And if we integrate both the sides, then s2 minus s1 is greater than or equal to integral 2 to 1 d cut q upon t. And the next topic was entropy principle. In our previous lecture we quickly went through this entropy principle, so we will do a detailed study of this principle once again during this lecture. So here, for any infinitesimal process undergone by a system, ds is greater than or equal to d cut q upon t. So here, for an isolated system which does not undergo any energy interaction with surroundings, then d cut q is equal to 0, that is if it is an isolated system, there will not be any form of heat transfer. So here d cut q will be 0, so we can say that ds isolated is greater than or equal to 0. For a reversible process, it is equal to 0. That means that S isolated, that is entropy of isolated system, is constant. So here it is proved that the entropy of an isolated system can never decrease. As you can see that here we are having a sign of greater than or equal to 0 for an change in entropy for isolated system. It always increases. It always increases and remains constant only when the process is reversible one. Okay, so the second statement is related to this mathematical quantity. This is known as principle of increase of entropy. Now we will focus on this part where this much of portion, this portion is system, and this portion is the surrounding, and when we combine both of them, then it will become an isolated system. Here is, you can see that the heat is entering into the system and work is leaving this system. So an isolated system can be formed by including any system and its surrounding within a single boundary. So we can combine a system and surrounding and we can create an isolated system. The system and surrounding together include everything which is affected by the process. For all processes that a system in this given surrounding can undergo, we can say that ds of universe is always greater than or equal to 0. So here, as you can see in this figure, that universe is made up of two things, system and surrounding. So ds system plus ds surrounding is always greater than or equal to 0. So this is very important thing that is coming over here, is that entropy may decrease locally at some region within an isolated system, but it must be compensated by a greater increase in entropy somewhere within the system. So the net effect of irreversible process is entropy increase of whole system. So what is the meaning of this? Let's take an example of an isolated system like this. Suppose somewhere here in some corner we are getting an entropy decrease of -5, that is, it is being decreased by 5 units. So as we know that the thing is that the total should always be greater than or equal to 0. So there must be some region where it is like +6. So the overall effect is +6 minus 5 is equal to +1. So in overall terms, the entropy is increasing. So if you see, if you read this statement again, then you will be easily able to understand this, that entropy may decrease locally at some region within the isolated system, that is the case of -5, but it must be compensated by a greater increase of entropy somewhere within the system, that is this +6, so that the net effect of an irreversible process is entropy increase of the whole system. So here, this is another example of entropy principle with equilibrium condition. So the entropy of isolated system always increases, that is quite obvious, and here it is important that it becomes a maximum one at the state of equilibrium. So what it is trying to say, that whenever a process is happening, entropy will increase, but once equilibrium condition is arrived, then the entropy will be maximum. So if the entropy of an isolated system varies with some parameter x, let us say, then so this is the parameter x, as you can see in this figure, that parameter is x, and there is a certain value of xe which maximizes the entropy, and it represents the equilibrium state. So this is the point where the equilibrium is achieved. The system is said to exist at the peak of entropy hill, and ds is equal to 0. So there is no change in entropy from this point onwards. When the system is at equilibrium, any conceivable change in the entropy would be 0. So after the equilibrium, there will not be any form of change in entropy. So here you can see it again, that once a process is happening, the entropy of isolated system is increasing, but once the equilibrium state is achieved at parameter xe, that is the critical value, after that we are at this point we are getting the maximum entropy, and after that the entropy is remaining constant at the maximum value. So this is the entropy principle. Now we are beginning a new topic, that is applications of entropy principle. Our first application is transfer of heat through a finite temperature difference. So here, first of all, we will understand the figure, that here we are having two reservoirs, reservoir A and reservoir B. Okay, both the reservoirs are connected with a rod. Here T1 is the temperature which is greater than T2. T1 is greater than T2, and here the connecting rod will help us to transfer the heat from reservoir A to reservoir B. However, the combination of these three, that is reservoir A, the connecting rod and reservoir B, will combine and make an isolated system. So one thing which you should remember here is T1 is greater than T2, and the flow of heat Q is always from A to B. And how we are forming this isolated system? By combining A plus a rod, that is the connecting rod, plus B is equal to isolated system. Okay, so here for reservoir A, that is capital A, delta S is minus Q upon T1. So here delta S A is equal to minus Q upon T1. Why minus is coming? Because heat is being removed from reservoir A, or it is rejecting the heat. Okay, then reservoir B, that is delta SB, that is the entropy change in reservoir B, which is equal to plus Q divided by T2. Why plus sign is coming? Because here this is being received by reservoir B, so this is wrong. Over here it is positive. Okay, now the road connecting the reservoir suffers no entropy change. This is important part. Okay, let me first correct this. So here for reservoir B, delta SB is equal to plus Q upon T1. It is positive as the heat Q flows into the reservoir. The road connecting the reservoir suffers no change because once in steady state its coordinates do not change. So after steady state is achieved, the entropy change will be 0. Therefore the isolated system comprises the reservoir and the road, and since entropy is an additive property, we can say that capital S is equal to SA plus SB. Delta S is equal to delta SA plus delta SB. So here we can do a summation of our entropy change, that is for first reservoir it is minus Q upon T1, and for second reservoir it is plus Q upon T1. So here we are getting Q into T1 minus T2 by T1 T2. So let me rewrite that equation. Delta S isolated is equal to Q into T1 minus T2 by T1 into T2. So now you can focus over here that if T1 is greater than T2, then this term will be positive. So for that delta isolated will be positive. So delta isolated and delta universe is same here. Hence the process is irreversible because the entropy change is positive. Now if T1 is equal to T2, delta S in universe will be 0. So the process is reversible, and if T1 is less than T2, delta S universe is negative, so the process is impossible. So next, our next theory is mixing of two fluids. So this is the figure for mixing of two fluids. So now we will first focus on this figure. So here we are having two subsystems and there is a partition provided. So there are two segments. In first segment we are having some system or fluid elements, and here we are having another fluid or same fluid that we will see later on. So here the properties of subsystem 1 are M1, C1 and T1, that is mass, specific heat and temperature. And here for subsystem 2 the same parameters are changed to M2, C2 and T2. One thing we need to remember that here T1 is greater than T2, that is the temperature of the subsystem 1 is greater than the temperature of subsystem 2. And the whole system combinedly is enclosed with this adiabatic enclosure. So in any case this two subsystems will not interact outside this adiabatic enclosure. So subsystem 1, that is on the left hand side, have fluid of mass M1, specific heat C1 and temperature T1, and subsystem 2, here it should be 2, having mass M2, specific heat C2, temperature T2, comprise a composite system in an adiabatic enclosure. When the partition is removed, so let's say that we are removing this partition, the two fluids will mix with each other, and at the equilibrium let Tf be the final temperature and T2 less than Tf less than T1. So now let me just try to explain this part. Let us say that this is having 100 degrees Celsius temperature and this is having, let us say, 40 degrees Celsius, and based on the values of M and C, let us say that after mixing the joint value, that is combined value of Tf of mixture is let's say it is becoming 70 degrees Celsius. Okay, so as you can see that T1 is T2 is 40 degrees Celsius, which is less than the final temperature of mixture is 70 degrees Celsius, and it is also less than our T1 temperature 100 degree Celsius. Since energy interaction is exclusively confined to two fluids, the system being isolated is written in this way that the heat which is being rejected by first fluid is exactly equal to the heat which is being received by the second subsystem or second fluid. So our standard formula for heat or energy is mc delta T. So m1c1 T1 minus Tf is equal to m2c2 Tf minus T2. So after once we do this, we will be getting this final values of Tf, that is final temperature. You can do it by yourself. Once you do simplification, you will be obtaining the value of Tf. So you should do this by yourself. So now the entropy change for for fluid in subsystem 1, which is given by this formula. First of all, we will focus on this part. That delta S1 is, we are going from T1 to Tf, and delta S means d cut q upon T. So here m1 c1 dt upon T, m1 c1 dt upon T is equal to m1 c1 ln Tf upon T1. That is our standard integration formula, because of integration 1 upon T dt is equal to ln T. Okay, that is our standard formula. So m1 c1 is out, and ln Tf upon T1, which is equal to m1 c1 ln Tf plus 273 divided by T1 plus 273. So here as you know that Tf, that is the final temperature, will always be less than T1, or in our case it is 70, which is less than 100. Okay, that's why this term will go negative because of logarithmic nature, and we will be getting a negative value of delta S1. Okay, and it should be correct because this subsystem 1 is losing its heat because of temperature reduction, so entropy is decreasing for subsystem 1. Now the entropy change for fluid in subsystem 2, which is given by this formula, that delta S2 is equal to integration T2 to Tf d cut q reversible upon T integration T2 to Tf m2 c2 dt over T. Exactly a similar process just like this, so there is not much change. And here if you see, now Tf is greater than T2. Which case is this? It is actually 70, which is being greater than 40. Okay, that's why this term will be positive, so the entire entropy change is also positive here. So now when we combine these two, we will be getting the entropy change of whole universe. So we can simply sum these two together and we will be getting this formula, and the value of above term will be positive defined. So it has to be positive, that's why it is a natural process or irreversible process. So the mixing process is irreversible. Now let us take one case in which both fluids are same and having a same mass. That is m1 equal to m2 equal to m, and c1 equal to c2 equal to c. So we will be getting delta S universe as this. Now how it is coming like this? Let us take delta S universe when both are same, then is equal to mc ln Tf upon T1 plus mc ln Tf upon T2. Then we can combine them, mc ln Tf upon T1 cross Tf upon T2. So that's why we will be getting mc ln Tf square upon T1 T2. Okay, so the same thing can be done for the final temperature. So once you put mc instead of m1c1, let us say here we start again, Tf is equal to mc T1 plus mc T2 divided by mc plus mc. So finally what we will be getting, mc will be removed from numerator and denominator. So we are getting like this. So once we put this value of Tf over here, then we will be finally getting this 2mc ln T1 plus T2 by 2 divided by T1 T2, and this will always be positive. This justifies the increase, justifies the law of increase of entropy. Okay, there is between these two there is a normal mathematical step that you can take this power on the front for as a multiplication part, 2mc ln Tf by T1 T2, and instead of Tf we can put T1 plus T2 by 2. Now our next topic is maximum work obtainable from two finite bodies at temperature T1 and T2. So this is our third application here, and in this case we are having two bodies, body 1 and body 2, and body 1 is at temperature T1 and body 2 is at temperature T2. So if let us say that if heat engine is operated between two bodies acting as thermal energy reservoirs, part of energy withdrawn from heat withdrawn from body 1, that is Q1, is converted into work W by heat engine, and the remainder is rejected to body 2. So now the lowest attainable temperature Tf. So obviously this body 1 is rejecting heat, so its temperature will reduce from T1 to Tf, and as body 2 is receiving the heat, so its temperature will increase from T2 to Tf. Now the lowest attainable temperature Tf corresponds to delivery of largest possible amount of work, and it is associated with reversible process. So let us say that this is, again we will be taking our original example of 100 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, and let us say that we want maximum work out of this two. So to get the maximum work, there will be some T minimum which we can attain. That is, let us say that T minimum is suppose it is 65 degrees Celsius. A very rough example here. So suppose the minimum temperature that can be attainable is 65 degrees Celsius, then we will be getting the maximum work output W. Okay, so this is only possible in case of reversible process, that is maximum work which can be obtained only in reversible processes. Now the total heat withdrawn from body 1 can be written as this, that is Q1 is equal to Cp T1 minus Tf, where Cp is heat capacity of two bodies at constant temperature. Total heat rejected to body 2 is Q2 is equal to Cp Tf minus T2. Amount of total work delivered by heat engine is given by this, that is W Q1 minus Q2 is equal to Cp T1 plus T2 minus 2Tf. See, this is our normal mathematics. Okay, you can do it by yourself. So for body 1, the entropy change delta S1 is given by this formula, integration T1 to Tf Cp dt by T. Cp ln Tf by T1. Similarly, we can get delta S2 Cp ln Tf by T2. Okay. Applying the entropy principles, that is delta S of universe is always greater than or equal to 0. So Cp ln Tf by T1 plus Cp ln Tf by T2 is always greater than or equal to 0. So Cp ln Tf square over T1 T2 is always greater than or equal to 0. Now what we require is a Tf to be minimum. So in this formula, if you focus, it is of greater than or equal to sign. So if Tf has to be minimum, then it has to be 0. This whole term has to be 0. So ln Tf square by T1 T2 is equal to 0. The meaning is that we will be getting this formula. So let me explain it over here, that we can continue from this formula over here, that ln Tf square divided by T1 T2 equal to, instead of 0, what we are going to do is we are going to put it as ln 1. So now what we will be getting, Tf square over T1 T2 is equal to 1. So here we are getting Tf is equal to, Tf square is equal to T1 T2. So finally what we are getting out of this as Tf is equal to square root of T1 and T2. Now here for W to be maximum, Tf has to be minimum. So finally we will be getting this, that is Cp T1 plus T2. It was, see, if you recall, W was like this in our previous slide, Cp T1 plus T2 minus 2 Tf. Okay. So because of that we have put this. Okay, and we can write down this. Now how we have arrived up to this, even though it is very simple, let me write down it. Square root of T1 square plus square root of T2 square minus, instead of Tf we can write down square root of T1 into square root of, this is not a minus sign, this is dot. Okay, so based on that we are getting this, because if you recall, a square plus b square minus 2ab is equal to a minus b no whole square. So this is the end of this theory, that here W max is given by Cp square root of uh, T1 minus square root of T2 whole square. So this is the maximum amount of work which we can attain when we are having two finite temperature bodies. Now our next theory is maximum work obtainable from a finite body and a thermal energy reservoir. So here that is the figure for it. So here in previous theory we were having two bodies, and now here instead of that we are having only one body and one thermal energy reservoir. A body is at temperature T and thermal energy reservoir is at T0. We are here. Okay, let's see these points, that the finite body has thermal capacity Cp and is at temperature T, as you can see here, and thermal energy reservoir, that is the bottom one, is at temperature T0, such that T is always greater than T0. So again we can take this example, 100 degrees Celsius and 40 degree Celsius. Let a heat engine operate between two. So here a heat is withdrawn from body Q. Its temperature also decreases. So here the temperature of TER, that is thermal energy reservoir, would remain unchanged. That is, this will not change, because that is the definition of thermal energy reservoir, that whatever amount of heat we are adding into thermal energy reservoir, there will not be any kind of appreciable changes in the temperature of thermal energy reservoir. So this will remain constant T0. Next, the engine would stop working when the temperature of the body reaches T0. So what will happen after some time, that the temperature T that was previously at 100 degrees Celsius will reduce to 40 degrees Celsius, that is equal to thermal energy reservoir and the heat engine will stop working. During that period, the amount of work delivered W, that is here the output of this heat engine, and the heat is rejected to thermal energy reservoir is Q minus W. As you can see here, it is quite straightforward that from here Q is coming, we are getting W output, so the remaining part is being rejected in thermal energy reservoir. So this is also one form of typical example of a power plant which are producing electricity, that the heat is being rejected in environment, that is in the atmosphere as well as in the nearby river. So here the delta S for body is given by this formula, that integration T to T0 Cp dt upon T, and we are getting Cp to be equal to ln T0 upon T, that is the delta S for body. Now delta S for heat engine is 0 because it is a cyclic process, so there will not be any kind of change in entropy. For thermal energy reservoir, the heat which is being received is Q minus W, and this Q minus W is at temperature T0, so delta S TER will be Q minus W upon T0. So here we can combine this. So when we combine these three, so what we have done, that we have taken this whole as an isolated system. Okay. So delta S universe is given by Cp T0 upon T plus Q minus W divided by T0. Now by entropy principle, again delta S universe is always greater than or equal to 0. So we will be getting this, that this whole term will also be greater than or equal to 0. So Cp ln T0 upon T is greater than or equal to W minus Q upon T. So simple mathematics is done over here. So so we have simply reversed the formula. So W minus Q upon T0 is always less than or equal to Cp ln T0 upon T. So finally what we will be getting here is this. So this is like W minus Q is less than or equal to Cp T0 ln T0 upon T. This is less than or equal to. So we are getting W less than or equal to Q plus T0 Cp ln T0 upon T. That is the final equation that we will be getting, which is written over here also. So when we will be getting W max, when the inequality sign is replaced with the equality sign. So this will be our W maximum, that is equal to Q plus T0 into Cp ln T0 upon T. And if you recall, if we replace the value of Q, that is Cp into T minus T0, so we will be getting this formula. So there is a mistake here in typing. This negative sign, let me correct this, that here it will be nullity and here it will be underscore. So here we have obtained the final equation. Now there are a few topics which I am giving you in self-study, which are very similar to or based on what we have already done as entropy principle and its applications. So the first topic for you to do by yourself is processes exhibiting external mechanical irreversibility, in which we are having two things. First is isothermal dissipation of work and second is adiabatic dissipation of work. So our next topic for today and maybe the last topic of today is entropy change during a thermodynamic process. So this is purely a theoretical part. Let us say that m kg of gas pressure P1, volume V1, absolute temperature T1, entropy S1 is being heated. So these are the thermodynamic quantities or thermodynamic coordinates of gas is being heated by a thermodynamic process. So after this thermodynamic process, the final pressure, volume, temperature and entropy are P2, V2, T2 and S2 respectively. From the first law of energy, delta Q is equal to du plus del W. So delta Q is equal to mCV delta T because if you recall, du is equal to mCV dt and del W is equal to P into dV. And what we have done over here is we have divided both the sides with T. So del Q upon T is equal to mCV dt upon T plus P into dV upon T. So here instead of del Q upon T we can write down ds and mCV dt upon T plus here what we have done is instead of P upon T we have replaced it with mR upon V. Now what is this? So let's recall our ideal gas equation, that is PV is equal to mRT, and if we see P upon T is equal to mR upon V. So we are getting this mR upon V instead of this P upon T. Instead of P upon T we can put mR upon V. So integrating both the sides we will be getting this, that S2 minus S1 is equal to mCV ln T2 by T1 plus mR ln V2 by V1. Okay, that is quite straightforward integration formula. Now what we have done over here is we have made some changes for this V2 by V1 with this. Okay, so we will try to understand how we have replaced this. So we again we will be writing down the gas equation, that is P1 V1 upon T1 is equal to P2 V2 T2. This is very well known equation, you might have studied this in your first year of engineering. So what we are focusing on the ratio of V2 by V1. So if we make a ratio of V2 by V1 over here, we are getting P1 upon P2 into T2 upon T1. Okay, so here we are getting MCV ln T2 by T1 plus MR P1 by P2 plus MR ln T2 by T1. So this is the formula, and what we can do is we can combine two things together. Which two things? This one and this term. Okay, so we can combine these two in CV plus R, as you can see. And if you recall, based on our EME subject, that is Elements of Mechanical Engineering, that CP minus CV is equal to R. So CP is equal to CV plus R. So what we can do, that instead of CV plus R we can write down simply CP. So this is our final equation for entropy change during a thermodynamic process. Okay, so now we will continue from here and try to get some other forms of the same equation. We have rewritten this equation. This equation was available over here, so I have written this equation again on our next slide. You can pause and write down this. So here again what we are doing, the same thing we are doing, that instead of T2 by T1 we are putting this, already done in our previous slide. Okay, so what we can do here, MCV ln P2 by P1 plus MCV. So we have separated this into this ratio as well as this ratio. Okay, so what we have done here, that we have combined another two things together, that is this and this. So here we are getting CV plus I. Okay, again it will be replaced with CP. So this is the equation that we are getting for S2 minus S1. Now, so this is the end of this relationship of S2 minus S1. Now there are few topics which, again this is the second topic I am giving you in self-study part, which is the change of entropy of different processes. So what we have done today is, see, we have studied this theory today, that is entropy change during a thermodynamic process. So what is that? On basis of this entire theory, there are small theories for various kinds of processes. That is, let us say, first we are having constant volume process, then we are having constant pressure process, then we are having isothermal process, that is again constant temperature process, then we are having isentropic process, then irreversible adiabatic process, and polytropic process. So there are chances that you need to put some more effort in derivating for polytropic process. The remaining theories are very small and can be done easily. So once you go through your reference books, you will be easily able to finish this self-study part from your side. Okay, so better that after completing this lecture, you should refer to your reference book and do this by yourself, and you should be able to finish this part. So this is the end of today's lecture. Still, we will see that we will revisit that what we have done in today's lecture. We started with entropy, principle, Then the next was applications of entropy principle, that is first is transfer of heat through a finite temperature difference. Then second application is mixing of two fluids. We derived the formula. Third theory was maximum work obtainable from two finite bodies at temperature T1 and T2. Fourth application was maximum work obtainable from a finite body and thermal energy reservoir. And I have given you this self-study topics. After that, last topic was entropy change during a thermodynamic process. And these are the self-study topics. So this is the end of today's lecture, and we are still left with one more video of this chapter, and then we will be ending this chapter and we will begin with our new topic, exergy. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.